Okay, welcome back. This is day 5 of my journey towards lucid dreaming. If you're new here, basically I'm just returning to my practice of lucid dreaming and sharing it here with you guys. So to give you an update, basically I did experience that hypnagogic imagery again. It just wasn't as intense as the night before that. Again, the hypnagogic state is just that state between, just going from wakefulness to sleep, that in-between state. You might notice dream scenes forming and disappearing and coming back. That's the hypnagogic state. So experienced that, just not as intense. The thing that did drastically change is I noticed was my dream recall. I remember a lot more dream scenes than I have in the past few nights, or even just in a while. That is a big boost and a big change, which is awesome because the more I'm remembering my dreams, the more conscious I'm becoming in the dreams that I'm having. So that's good news. I'm on the right track, so to speak. I'm not going to read all my journal entries, but I want to share some of them and point out certain things because if you're practicing right now and following along, or if you've done this in the past, sometimes you'll experience this where where if you review your dream logs, your dream entries, you'll start to notice things that are like obvious clues to that it was a dream. The absurdities, the bizarreness that kind of shows up in these dreams, and all you can do is just look back and just laugh and go, okay, I wasn't aware enough to kind of become lucid in that dream, but there's plenty of signs pointing to that, hey, this is totally a dream. So I'll share some of my experiences last night and this early morning and just highlight those because they're kind of funny. All right, so first thing, I was in this house, and it was my house in this dream, and basically people were showing up uninvited. At least I didn't invite them. And so it was confusing, and it was causing me a lot of frustration. And some of the dream characters were actually appeared as people that I knew in my waking life from my past. Obviously, I know it's not really them, but just it's them appearing as dream characters. And there was obviously a lot of dream characters that I just didn't recognize or knew. So there was some confusion, just frustration that was starting to happen in that particular dream scene. And here's the thing you ever notice in the dreams is that it's never, because the next dream scene I can recall right after that is me being in a car. But there was no in-between. There was no decision of, hey, I'm going to leave the house and get my car, or get in a car, or get picked up. There was no walking down the stairs, walking out the front door, getting into my own car or someone else's car. None of that. It's just, hey, in my house, frustrated, and then bam, and suddenly now I'm in the back of someone's car. And I don't recognize this person. But I knew I was trying to get back home. So so that's the funny part. I didn't pick that up in the actual dream. I actually just realized this kind of making this video. I was like, oh, wait a second. Yeah, like why did I not think of that in the dream state? That's kind of weird of like, I was just at my house and there's no in-between thing. I'm just suddenly in a car, and then suddenly I want to get back to my house. And I'm trying to give this driver directions of where I live. And I was trying to use my phone and struggling with that. And it was just getting weird. It was almost turning nightmarish in this particular dream scene. And here we go again, where suddenly the next scene is just me outside the vehicle. I'm just outside looking in the vehicle, and the side door is open. And I knew I just needed to get away. I felt kind of scared or whatever in this dream. I don't have many nightmares, but in this case, it was kind of slightly turning nightmarish. And that guy eventually drove off, and I just knew I wanted to get away. And I started walking, or maybe even power walking or running toward, I was in a small town or village. And I'm running up to a house, and here's the next part. I'm trying to knock on the door, but every time I knock, normally when you knock, if someone's home, they're going to hear the knocks. It's a loud enough thud for them to really hear that, for the most part. But every time I knocked, it was little taps. It was a little tap, tap, tap. And it was frustrating because I could look through the window of the door, the glass there, and I could see the people in it. I could see them right there. But eventually they responded. It was this guy, he opens the door, and he was like really short, just like abnormally short. And that to me was another sign of like, hey, like this is probably a dream. I don't really have ever experienced someone that short, unless it's in like a movie or something like that in the dream. And I think there was some other family members that were in the background. But basically, I'm just frantically trying to explain what was going on. And then I was trying, almost like, I don't know if I was embarrassed or I was just like, kind of apologetic almost. But I remember looking down and seeing I was wearing just a bath towel. And that's it. Just naked, just wearing a bath towel. that would be another sign of like, what was I doing? Where, how did I go from the house, jumps to the car? Now I'm out in front of this person's house, a stranger's house, asking for help and explaining the situation I was just in, and looking down of like, oh yeah, I'm in a bath towel. So again, there's all these little obvious signs and clues pointing to kind of like, this is really strange, or like, how did you come to get to this point in the dream? Like, it just doesn't make any sense at all. So these things happen, and you might not be aware of it while you're in the dream, but after you've written it down or thought about it for a little bit, you might go, oh my God, there were so many signs pointing, I'll give you some examples from when I was practicing lucid dreaming in the past. I would have dreams about lucid dreaming. Like there would be signs about, lucid dreaming in the dream, but I would not get lucid. And so, and when I wake up, I'd realize that and just be like, oh, okay, like that's funny. Like all you can do is laugh. That's about it. Sometimes it's frustrating, but so yeah, so notice that for yourself. If you're, reviewing it, this is why it's important to kind of write down your dreams. So you can kind of review them and seeing kind of like what's the reoccurring themes or dream signs and symbols. And then also, like, for example, I think I had a dream last night also around handcuffs or restraints. And I think I had in one of my previous logs that I talked about, there was something about the hands or the arms not being restrained, but I think my legs were in this particular dream. So I think anytime now if I happen to see, I don't have handcuffs, but if I see a movie or an image online of like handcuffs or restraints, I'm going to do a reality check, because maybe then I'll end up seeing some sort of dream scene in the future about handcuffs or restraints, and I'll know to kind of do a reality check and become aware. So yeah, just that's the importance of just going back and reviewing your dream log and just noticing these things, and maybe that can help you with getting lucid in the future. So stay tuned.